Hello, and welcome back to My Life in Film. This year, we're at 1997, and we're going to make a little change because now it's starting to get hard to narrow these down to just 10 movies I really enjoy. So we are starting at number 15 with Cube. When you first saw Cube, the movie, we get to understand that we have an idea of people trapped in rooms and they have to figure out how to survive, where some rooms are safe, while other rooms are death rooms, and they're all very big and glorious sounding looking deaths. We learn this very early on with the opening sequence, and it's sort of about working together to understand and try and survive. And we do actually end up with a few sequels in this, which again is another franchise I watched in the very wrong order. But this is the first. This felt like a bit of groundwork for what we once got with the whole Saw franchise. Very much a horror movie you need to go and check out if you've never seen it. Number 14 is Contact. Going in a very different direction here, we're going to a sci-fi movie about potentially creating time travel after having a visit or a message sent through space. It's a very more interesting one to deal with the idea of what could happen, what is possible, and not necessarily an over-the-top flashy sci-fi movie which we have seen in the past. We have a great cast in Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey, and we also get to see how, if something like this was created, there would be a group or a cult that would see it as a threat to them all, to everyone on Earth. It also has one of the best endings of many movies. Number 13 is The Rainmaker. Every year I talk about a courtroom drama I really enjoy, and this is one that doesn't quite get the attention of many others that we've seen earlier in the lists. A Few Good Men is the most notable one. This time we watch a young lawyer desperate for a job who takes a role trying to get an insurance claim paid for failed medical expenses that could have saved their life. And it starts off with like a cocky, arrogant John Voight, like, yeah, we'll take the kid on, he'll be fine, there's no issues. But then it gets very interesting when he starts to turn the screw and starts to be leading in the case, along with a lot of backstage politics with how he's trying to get into the world, including Danny DeVito and Mickey Rourke involved in that. Number 12 is Volcano. The coast is toast. Part of me has that on there just because of the tagline, but the other part is the fact that I love a good disaster movie. Volcano is just like that for me. It is a completely bonkers idea. It's just like, let's just have a volcano in LA and have it going down all the major streets and somehow having to figure out how to stop it. It's outstandingly original. No, it's not. It's just bonkers. It's fun though. And a good disaster movie needs to be fun. Number 11. Know how I talk about disaster movies? Well, Dante's Peak's here. Well, Dante's Peak does take a more scientific approach to everything, loosely. It sort of studies the idea of someone having to deal with the idea that it could happen. And there is an actual volcano in this one that's been dormant. And we're playing to the idea of it could have been a bit like what happened with Mount St. Helen. What we have is it slowly erupting even though he's been told not to do anything, and he has to go up the mountain / volcano to save the mayor's kids. And when it comes to the pyroclastic flow, probably pronounced that wrong, it is a great action sequence. It's completely unbelievable, but it's shot so well that moment. And again, I like my disaster movies. So the biggest ones I haven't seen is Life is Beautiful. Again, one I just never really got round to watching. I do want to see it. I've never seen the original Funny Games. Again, just never really found the time for it. And the Full Monty. Being British, you would have thought I would have seen this. But no, not yet. In at number 10 is Event Horizon. I do like my wildly over the top ideas of sci-fi. This movie has so much potential to be even bigger than what we got. I want to see more. I think we could try and push for more. Let's do a hashtag Event Horizon director's cut. But we'll go from there, and we'll worry about that another day. It just is so dark. It's so intriguing, mixing space with an heaven and hell concept as well. Something we haven't seen too many times before. Number 9 is Air Force One. This is a good year for movies. Air Force One follows a president who finds his flight home hijacked by terrorists, and he decides not to just escape but to try and fight back because his family's on the plane with him. And we have the terrorist who believes he's escaped dealing with the vice president who's trying to figure out where the president is, and the president trying to be stealthy because of his military past to try and stop the terrorist getting what he wants. It is a very clever concept. Harrison Ford is arguably at his very best for a standalone movie. Yeah, everything else has generally had a sequel that has been his truly best. And Gary Oldman as a villain is delightful. Number 8 is The Game. We continue with a lot of these psychological ones where Michael Douglas is thrown into a birthday present type game from his brother, which sees his life unravel before him, and he can't quite figure out if it is just a game or if it's real, and that's where the film really shines. We don't really know what's happening in this movie. It could go either way by the end, and if it does go either way, it wouldn't surprise you, which is what would make this more of a standout movie. Number 7 is The Fifth Element. Hey look, Gary Oldman's back. Anyway, this movie follows I want to say young woman created from an element stone who could be the prophecy to do something in the galaxy. I can't actually remember. But it's all about going through space with a crazy Bruce Willis, a very loud and annoying Chris Tucker, and Gary Oldman hunting him down. And this is such an intriguing idea. It's Luke Besson, again, bringing us something outside the box for movies. A sci-fi movie with a lot of alien characters that all work well in the universe. Very much in the futuristic with flying cars and everything. Well, again, we've seen flying cars before, but this one had the idea that it was like real life with the smog-filled world too. So, again, it is one that is very, very entertaining. Films I didn't enjoy, the basic ones. I really didn't like Hercules. This is going to be a continuing theme. I don't really like many of the 90s Disney movies. And the other one is going to be Speed 2. Don't really need to go into why. We all know why that's not very good. Number 6 is The Lost World, Jurassic Park, the sequel to the Genius movie. Well, growing up, to me, I actually preferred this movie because it was a lot darker, and it also played into the fact that if there was an island of dinosaurs, there would be a smart group that would like to study it, then you would have a group that would just like to hunt it, fully going into human nature, which again gets copied a lot in Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom later in the franchise. But bringing back Jeff Goldblum was great. He manages to take the leading role and run with it. The villainous scientists are great, with Pete Postlethwaite as the game hunter who just wants a T-Rex. He is awesome to watch as well. So when we got more dinosaur action, we are getting a lot bigger in these movies, and while the final act is a bit weird for the rest of the movie, this is one that you could truly enjoy. Number 5 is Starship Troopers. I am a big fan of Starship Troopers. Again, this is one of the very first truly violent action movies I ever saw, and it doesn't hold back at all, does this movie? It is just body parts flying, the great battle between humans and bugs, and the fact that it doesn't even hold back about who the true villains in this movie are, plays along with the whole propaganda machine. It's everything you want to see in a completely over-the-top sci-fi movie, and even though the other movies in the franchise aren't as good, I don't hate them like everyone else does. Number 4 is Princess Mononoke. We've returned to Ghibli again, and this is one of the more interesting ones yet again. It follows a young warrior who gets infected by a curse in the jungle, in the forest, and must go in search of a cure, where he ends up getting involved in a war between people who want to kill the forest guardian or god and the princess who will fight to defend it. And we have a load of different creatures involved, different humans. It is basically everything Avatar wants to be, is how gloriously beautiful this movie is. And for me, it's up there with Ghibli's best. Number 3 is Face Off. The late 90s were Nicolas Cage in his prime action era, this time going head to head with John Travolta, and swapping bodies halfway through the movie, so he gets to be the gloriously over top villain before being the good guy in the villain's body, while John Travolta gets to be the good guy cop who gets turned into the psychopath. They work so well together. It is so gloriously John Woo-ish. I can't help but enjoy this movie over and over again. Number 2 is Con Air. I think we know where these are going. This is easily one of the best enjoyable action movies you'll see, where we find Cameron Poe, a former military man who gets sent to prison for defending himself against free men, which is ridiculous, and he ends up on his release day catching a plane home with a group of convicts who have planned their great escape, and he has to play along while trying to defend the innocent people on the plane, like some of the guards, some of the other inmates who don't really want to be involved in it, using all his skills to stay ahead of the villains, with the gloriously named Cyrus the Virus as the main villain of the group. And number 1 is Good Will Hunting. For me, Good Will Hunting is in the top 4 movies I have ever seen. I can watch this movie again and again. I will always praise the fact that I am a Robin Williams fan, and I prefer his more serious roles to his comical ones. This shows him in a serious role with absolute ease. And regardless of what's happened off camera between the 4 friends, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Casey Affleck, and Cole Hauser, the 4 of them are fantastic together. Some of the careers have gone a bit better than others, but they all knew how to play this role perfectly. You can tell there's a friendship there, and dealing with a lot of real life issues that they would be going through growing up, getting on with life. And one of my favourite moments in the movie is the fact that we actually have Robin Williams and Stellan Skarsgård having a heated discussion, and outside of the world of Good Will Hunting, they both star in 2 different versions of Insomnia, and they also play the characters that would be against each other. So as Robin Williams is the killer, while Skarsgård is the cop in the original Swedish version. I always love that fact. I'm seeing them go head to head. But for me, it's in my top 4 ever, and it will definitely make number 1 in 1997. I gotta say now is, what were your favourite movies from 1997? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching. Goodbye.